Why do our school textbooks try to portray that before the arrival of the British, India was underdeveloped, poor, uncivilized, uneducated, backward, etc.? It's understandable from Western books, but why do Indian books do this? Indian school textbooks. You see, in the Abrahamic world, the West, Western Europe, the West, entire Europe, etc., Europe, America, and all that. These are part of the Western world, and they are part of the Abrahamic world. And in the Abrahamic world, there is a before and after division. Where does this division happen? It's before Christianity and after Christianity. So let's say we're talking about England. England becomes Christian in the middle of the first millennium AD. In the second half of the first millennium AD, that's when England starts becoming Christian, and it's almost fully Christianized by 1000 AD. So they regard everything that existed before Christianity as paganism, which is barbaric. And the same attitude exists in all other European cultures. That whatever culture, religion, practices we had before Christianity was paganism, it was barbaric. It's associated with Satanism and all that. So in the old Indo-European culture that we Indians are part of, and we probably are the progenitors of that, in the old Indo-European culture, women had the important role of healers. They were the guardians of the ancient herbal knowledge, which we call Ayurveda in India. And they played important roles as priestesses, as healers, as midwives, and whatnot. All those things. So the traditional knowledge of healing was the domain of women. Okay? And the same was there in Europe. After Christianity became the dominant religion in Europe, Christianity sees the Abrahamic religions see women as inferior. But having this incredible knowledge made them very powerful in society. Women were highly regarded in Indo-European society, right? They were healers. They could save your life. So that gave them a position of power. So what the church did was they termed such women as witches, women who consort with the devil. They have this satanic knowledge and all that. So burned them as witches. So that's how the old culture was destroyed, stamped out. And in the 20th century, in today's world, all that is regarded as paganism. People who have such ancient knowledge were called witches. And everything that came before Christianity, that existed before Christianity, is regarded as barbaric. And the same applies to, I'm sure, Islam as well. I think in Islam, they call the pre-Islamic era of Arabia is what, Jahiliya or something, which is like barbaric era or something. So the same was then applied to India through the academic system. So in the academic system, a similar thing was applied. So in India, under the British colonial education system, everything European, everything Western was praised. The British occupation of India was termed as benevolent and something that served to uplift India from barbarity and primitivity. And obviously, they will portray Indian culture as backward, misogynistic, uncivilized, uneducated, poor, barbaric, all that in subtle ways. And the same thing has continued after 1947. We haven't changed our education system at all. The same attitudes, the same thing has persisted. So even today, they say that's what Indian textbooks do. That's what they say. That the British came on a great civilizing mission. We Indians were poor, backward, miserable, barbaric, primitive, misogynistic, patriarchal, casteist, whatever else. And the English civilized us. So that's the same thing that you will see in Indian textbooks today. It's the same thing about before and after. In Europe, it's about before Christianity, which is the pagan era, and after Christianity, which is the enlightened era. And in India, it's about before the British came to civilize us and after they civilized us. So we have to do self-flagellation. Take a whip and whip ourselves. that we were backward before the British came, and they civilized and uplifted us. So we have never decolonized. The process hasn't even started. We are not a post-colonial society. We are still deeply colonized, and our governments have done nothing to change that. So that's why we see what you are referring to, Rodrjit.